Now let's give you a little example of how I make my strings realistic. So this is the song that I showed you earlier on in the course, and I'm just going to play the string section this time. So let's have a listen to this. So the first thing is the articulations, which I mentioned earlier on. And I do a few things here, at least key switches wise. See if I can find that for you. There we go. So down here, I change my key switches. So when I have this lower note, then I can get the sustained sound. And it just goes on forever. But if I change my key switch to this note, I get more of a shorter sound. See, it dies off at the end. So I do that whenever I am encountering a faster melody with shorter notes. So I switch to my shorter sounds, and then when I want my longer note, I go back and change my key switch. And I do that several times throughout the song, at least over there. I think I do it later on as well over here. So I have these faster notes, so I change my articulation once again. Now, I've said that these articulations are for strings, but these articulations are for all your orchestral instruments, especially for your brass and your woodwinds as well. So definitely consider using articulations for all of these three. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing, which is extremely important to make your strings sound good, is expression. And that's what these things are at the bottom. This is my expression. And you can see I have quite a bit of expression that I've done throughout my piece. There we go. So everything here is a rising and it's a falling. It's essentially getting louder and then getting quieter and louder and quieter. If I were to play some of these pieces with expression, let me see if I can find one of these for you. Now contrast that if I had no expression. It doesn't sound nearly as good. So this is how expression can be used to make your pieces sound better. And you can have similar expression across all the instruments that are playing at the same time. So my violins, my cello, my basses, my violas, they can have similar rises at the same time and falls at the same time in combination with each other. So that's one thing to do expression-wise. Now, how do you actually automate this? Well, you just go into your plugin, and you're going to want to take a look at your automation features. Now, your plugin will probably look different, and if you're not using FL Studio, it will look very different. But essentially, the idea is you're going to find the knob that you can automate, and in this case, in FL Studio, I just go to Browse Parameters, look down here for one called Expression. And here I can then right-click and select Edit Events in Piano Roll. And when I do that, I get this. And then I can change this as I scroll with my mouse. So this is one way to do it. And you can just draw it in. When you get a higher peak, this is a louder. When it gets lower, then it's quieter. And you can play around with this. Now, you don't have to do it in the piano roll. You can do it outside of it as well. You could just say create automation clip. And if I look now, I have this automation clip over here, and I could actually draw it in as well. I find this is a little less flexible, because if you want to have a gradual rise, you have to actually move this around, but you can do it this way if you choose to. And then you'll be able to get these exact perfect curves if you wanted them. So this is how you can get realistic sounding strings. you can use articulations, and you can use expression.